Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Tome Travelers, a science fiction fantasy book club podcast. We did it this time. This is episode 23, and we're going to be continuing our discussion on The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks. I think last episode we mentioned that we were going to stop at 65. We lied. We read all the way through 67 because Dylan thought that's what we said.
I swear we said 67. I swear we said 67.
Yeah, despite me telling you multiple times
in the group chat.
There would have been a reason why 67 was stuck in my head.
Hey, well, it honestly, it's a pretty good
just come from
whatever. I'll make a Facebook post about it before this episode airs so people will know.
Yeah, I mean, it'll also be in the title of the episode, too, so.
I hope we watched the old video, or the first video, and you said 67. I hope that's what
Insert
happens.
clip of me saying 65. Okay. But, yeah, before we get into our discussion and stuff, we have a couple of announcements. As always, our Discord link is in the description of the YouTube video, which you can join. And we are also announcing next month's book, the month of November. Yes. Dylan, what is it?
It's going to be Red Rising. I've already read it. They haven't. Amazing book. I think it'll be a really good one. It'll be a fun read. And Lightbringer just came out not too long ago, so it'll kind of go into that.
Dope. Is Red Rising, is it fantasy, sci-fi? Sci-fi bet. I know nothing about it, so I've just heard good things. People are like, dude, Red Rising's so good, and I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a better Hunger Games.
Ooh, okay.
I've heard the characters get traumatized repeatedly.
I can't wait.
Kind of
I get to relive my Stormlight moments. Just trauma after trauma. But yeah, and then we also have our fantasy question. Whitson, hit us with it.
What is your favorite piece of sci-fi tech? Any world.
All right. I'll take this one first. I had two, but I think I'm going to go with the one that is not obvious. So probably one of like my top 5 favorite movies of all time is Inception.
Oh my god, you took mine.
No way. No way, dude.
The dream box?
Yeah, the dream box, bro. Like the passive or whatever it is.
That's right. I got to back up.
Dude, I was thinking, dude, it was between that and another thing. But yeah, I was going to go with the passive just because it's so dope. I love the movie, and the idea of like dream hopping is dope.
Yeah. I love that movie too. And didn't it get like a bad rap when it first came out?
Yeah, because
it was critically acclaimed. The thing that it gets a lot of hate for is the like pseudo intellectuals who like think they're special because they liked Inception. That's kind of the memes that I see around it.
No, I love Inception. I love the dream, like being able to craft your own dreams and.
Well, we're all pseudo intellectuals, so it checks out.
Yeah. All right, Dylan. What was your backup?
My backup is Rick's portal gun from Rick and Morty, man.
Okay. Dude, you said Inception and Rick and Morty in the same podcast? Come on. I'm going to attract the wrong kind of audience here. No. Man, Rick and Morty is going to be so weird next season. Y'all seen that? They're going to have a completely new cast of voice actors. Really? Because of all the Justin Roiland stuff. I haven't even seen
the newest season.
I haven't seen the newest one either. Mine, man, I kind of struggled with this one a little bit. I was thinking of the Mass Effect, the gates in Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
Halo rings also popped into my head, and then obviously energy swords and lightsabers.
I forgot about Mass Effect.
Dude, that was
Mass Effect has so much good stuff in it.
My second choice was the Darksaber.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Mass Effect rings. I just like all the different ways that different universes like incorporate and justify faster than light travel. It's really cool to me.
What were the powers in Mass Effect? The tech powers or whatever.
I forget what they're called, but they're like nanite kind of things.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's technology, right? It's not like fantasy.
Yeah, you're like a tech wizard.
That'd be really cool. But
that's dope.
Yeah, I'm curious. What is there like a? I mean, no spoilers, but like, is there like a magic system-esque kind of thing in Red Rising?
No.
Not so much. Just tech.
Tech. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Is
check
there like
it
a
out.
tech equivalent of like magical items?
Yes, kind of. Well,
Okay.
no. I mean, I don't know. There's like, so this doesn't really spoil anything, but there's the swords are like, they can like become flimsy and solid. If that, so like at one point, like it almost becomes like a whip, and it wraps around, and then makes it become solid, and it cuts.
Huh. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Interesting.
That's the only thing that popped in my head. But
I'm just curious. I really haven't read much sci-fi. I've read Dune and I've read the Ender series, and
Yeah.
that's basically it.
Same.
yeah, I'd like to give some more of it a chance. It's just
Yeah, no,
finding the
me
right
too.
books.
I
Yeah.
want to do
Red Rising
Leviathan
definitely
Wakes
really
at
good.
some point.
Dude, me
James S. A.
too. I
Corey.
have that on my bookshelf, and I've wanted to get. Wow, I've wanted to get into it for a long time, but
Yeah, we definitely need some more sci-fi.
oh yeah. If that's something you want us to do on the podcast, let us know down in the comments, everyone.
Yeah, and drop some
Speaking of
sci-fi books, some recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, speaking of the Warhammer books, because those deal with a lot of like different races and stuff, and
Hmm.
like I feel like those would be really cool. We'd have to find like the good ones, but I would be down to honestly read one of those
Dude, I'd
too.
be so down. Warhammer lore is sick, dude. I get those
Yeah,
YouTube like recommendation videos that are
yeah,
like
and they're
4 hours
like,
long, and they're like
yeah,
the history of the Thousand Suns, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but I'm grabbing the popcorn.
yeah, yeah, and
Um,
there's like so many different races in that too.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think,
no, it's
yeah,
crazy.
and it's like magical. It's like semi-magical. A lot of it.
Yeah. Well, I
There's like
mean,
necromancy and shit
yeah.
happening in space.
Um,
Kind of reminds me of Doom a little bit, like
that's kind of
like
just what it is.
ritualistic Satanism in space.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys have a fantasy question you want us to answer, let us know down in the comments or join our Discord and join the discussion there, where you can chat with us a bit more and ask us questions and things like that. Get involved. But with all of that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into episode 23 of the Tome Travelers. Am I doing
yeah,
the
hit us with,
synopsis? Or are you
yeah,
doing it?
I can do it.
All
I'll
right,
do
do
bet.
it.
So we chapter 3, we jump right into it, go straight into the action. Kip is at the Chrome area on Big Jasper. He's taking Blackguard training courses, classes, and doing like Chrome area drafting stuff. He's stretched really thin between Andros Guile and Janice and all of these new big players that we've met and got to learn a little bit more about. Meanwhile, Gavin is on Sears Island with Karis, trying to make a place for the refugees. He has a sit down with the seer, learn some critical information about the Blue Bane, where it's going to be in the sea. And he goes hunting, and he spends a large portion of his time trying to find the Bane after he gets the base set up for the refugees. And then Dazen finally manages to break free of the green cell at the very end of the last chapter we read. And it seems like this attempt is going to be a little more successful than his
Yeah, because
previous one.
he sees the different rooms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
So,
like, that's not gonna work.
so you guys think that Dazen is gonna like fully escape by the end of this book, or
I think we're gonna see some different moves that way. I don't know if he'll fully escape because uh
I mean, he's
surely
still got what?
Gavin like has some backup plans, but
Oh yeah,
Right. Gavin's so clever that I'm hoping there's another layer to it, you know? And also just knowing what we know about Dazen, I kind of want him to suffer. So,
yeah,
but I could see him escaping. I could see him joining the
I
Color
feel like
Currents or
well, I was gonna say I feel like right now in the story there's not really a spot for him,
yeah.
but I feel like we're working to where there will be soon, and so
yeah,
I feel like maybe even at the end of this book, maybe he gets out, but there's a spot for him, or Gavin goes to like because Gavin says at one point that he might need him to help balance things out again.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
just
do
want to
you,
say I
I'll
love
go
the
first.
fact that we're playing Magic the Gathering in a fantasy book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I literally, so like I thought it was like gonna be like a poker type game or something,
That's what I
Mhm.
thought
and
too.
we started having different colors and we're throwing out spells, and I'm just like, okay, I'm so down for this. And then it becomes like an integral part of the story, like a
Right.
huge part of the story.
And I think it's really cool that it's like how people are testing each other. You know, like wealthy people play poker against each other, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it gives you the measure of a man. But like that's how Andros Guile is treating this Magic the Gathering
Yeah,
game in their world. And
yeah,
also the fact that only the mirrors can make original cards is
yeah,
really cool.
really
yeah,
cool. Yep. Because like I thought once they had that scene, I even thought like maybe were like tarot cards or something, but no, they're like straight up like magic cards. Like everyone's got their own abilities and stuff, and
And
yeah.
it's
stats.
I
Yeah.
I love TCGs, so like I'm sitting there trying to figure out the mechanics and like,
Dude.
hmm
Well,
Yeah, I was
like,
like, can we get a Gwent out of this game or out of this book? Can we get a Gwent?
I was thinking like, how Magic does, or like recently they've been doing like outstretching, like they did Lord of the Rings Magic, they did Warhammer
yeah,
Magic. Imagine straight up they do like Lightbringer Magic, and they just
that'd
start
be cool.
bringing in the names of the cards that they have named in here. That'd be funny.
That'd be really cool.
I'd buy the whole set.
Same time.
But yeah.
Oh, and the
Uh,
mirrors are kind of like prophetic, right? And they're
Yeah.
they're
well,
part of the religion.
yeah.
So like
Well, I
we
was gonna
find out there's what seven of these like chosen people with the prism at the top.
yeah,
Um, we don't really know who the other ones are, right? It's we know that there's the prism, the seer, and the mirror, and we don't know the
yeah.
other ones.
Well, see, I was gonna say like we have a whole new uh like we didn't hear anything about these people in the first book really,
Oh,
and
and the
then now we've got
Lightbringer, I guess.
and the Lightbringer, and
Yeah.
now we've got like all these like they're all popping up. Like this seems like it's gonna be a really important time. We got the seer, um, who seems to be like leading Gavin to where he needs to be. We got the mirror who's kind of leading Kip to where he needs to bring, and we're assuming that Kip's gonna bring the
We don't have a
Lightbringer.
mirror
All this,
anymore, I'll tell you that much.
well, fair enough. But I mean, I'm assuming Kip's gonna be the Lightbringer. Like all this stuff keeps happening that is predicted for the Lightbringer to happen.
Oh yeah.
But at the
Well, I
same
mean,
time, like it's almost too easy because it's like everyone's predicting it to be him. Even Andros is like, "Oh, you think you're the Lightbringer?
yeah. Well, Janice's last words were, "I now know who the
I know who
Lightbringer
it
is."
is." Right.
Yeah, and then
But and
death.
we'll see, and that makes me think it's not Kip because if it was Kip, she would have said, I now I know you're the Lightbringer" or something like that. You know, she would have used him in the tense. I feel like.
Maybe, maybe I don't know. I mean, it was the last thing she said right before she died.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think
Which
divine
we still had
inspiration
enough.
hit her. Like she was looking into Kip's face, when she said it. So it's
Fair
like
enough.
I don't know. You could be right. You could definitely be
Yeah.
right. It could be like a subversion. But just so much of the prophetic stuff lines up with Kip. Also, we thought the Chosen One story was just going to be him becoming the Prism, and
Yeah.
this kind of like steps up the ante a little bit.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. A whole lot. Well, and so the way I kind of see it going, well, I think it'd be cool to be it this way is like Kip starts like preparing to be the Lightbringer or whatever, figures out he's not, and it's his half brother, Karis's kid, or something like that. And so then now he's in
Zyman,
this.
you mean?
Simon,
If
yeah.
if
That's what I'm
if
saying.
if Zyman is Karis's kid, um, but yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Uh,
I want to
speaking,
know what the Guile breeding stock is. If Zyman is Karis's son, that means there are four full spectrum polychromes in 2 generations.
we'll see. And I was gonna say, now we know that that's a thing. We didn't know that was a thing. Like it talked about polychromes, but we didn't know you could be a full spectrum polychrome in the
Yeah.
first book. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the second book has like opened our eyes to this kind of this world, like of all those things that could happen.
Well, and that's what we were asking for at the end of the first book too.
Yeah. Well, that was my biggest complaint, was I felt like it didn't do a good job of fully explaining everything, but it's doing a lot more better of a job doing it in this book. So,
Yeah. Well, another one of the things that I really wanted that happened in the like in chapter 3 was some kip growth, and I like how Gavin and is like we're gonna go throw him in the deep end and like he's gonna sink or swim, and we're gonna force him to grow. And I really like that. Like he's not getting babied or anything. Like uh he's getting thrown into this high society where he's got to like learn how to deal with andros. He's got to learn how to deal with all these uh rich kids. He's got to learn how to deal with blackguard training and all the like. It's forcing him to grow as a person like really
Mm-hmm.
quick. And
I
I
really
really like.
love Kip as
Yeah.
a main character, as a chosen one, even as a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old or whatever. He just he has more agency and he's more intelligent than most
Yeah.
chosen one main characters that I've come across. Like Rand al'Thor could never, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I love Rand. Don't get me wrong, but he could never.
Yeah. He
Uh,
his flaws are very admirable.
yeah.
Yeah. I just wish Kip would start seeing it too and get some of that self confidence he really needs because that's like his major downfall right now is like he's doing all these things like he is super intelligent and like he's figuring all this stuff out and even then like he's like not letting people pick on him anymore. We see him break the bully's arm. And then also like he's not really doing as bad as he thinks he's doing in his blackguard training. Like he needs to
No,
get
he's
a little
doing
bit more
really well so far.
Yeah.
he needs to get a little bit more fit, but as far as the fighting's going, like he's using his brain to beat people, or he's using like just because he doesn't have the like martial arts abilities or whatever that these other kids have, he's still winning and staying
Yeah.
like
He's out thinking
relevant.
everyone and
Right.
Well,
And
as a
so
dude
like
that grew up big, I mean that insecurity is real. It
right,
feels
right,
genuine to me.
right. No, I agree. Like don't like self confidence is a hard thing to get back once you've been put down that much and like I understand where he's coming from. I'm wondering like because I feel like he's at some point he's got to like break that hump to become
Yeah.
like the chosen one, and I'm
mm-hmm.
wondering what's going to like be that final like thing that's like, hey, I'm not as like so what if I'm a little bit bigger? Like I've got so much other things
It's
going.
gonna
Like
be
I'm
his Kung Fu Panda Po moment.
yeah yeah it's Poe moment.
Well, I
I'm
just
wondering.
imagine that he's not going to be like chubby by the end of the Blackguard thing.
Oh
Yeah, you
yeah,
would
you think?
assume not. Yeah.
I think he's just going to be fit by the end of the
Or
Blackguard stuff.
hear me out. Or he just for somehow some reason there's something about like his halo won't break, and so he just goes Green Gollum all the time whenever like he's in a fight or a scenario like that. So he doesn't even need to get fit.
Well,
I
and
mean, it could be
in
if he
theory
becomes a
too.
prism,
Like,
right?
Yeah, if he becomes
yeah.
Prism, he can just go Green Gollum. I mean, Gavin's dying
Well,
or
also in theory, like
losing his
the whole
power.
reason people don't go Green Golem is because they're worried about dying. Well, that's not really Kip's thing. Like Kip doesn't care. Like
Yeah,
he's like, I
Yeah.
just want to be useful. So if he can be useful by going Green Golem, I feel
yeah.
like he will every time.
Well, they said
Forgot
like
that
I
comes
think it
for
was like
dying.
you can go Green Gollum 3 to 4 times before your Halo will just fully break,
Yeah.
which is
Uh.
not a lot. Which Loki, I
No.
was thinking
But
about side tangent. I was thinking about that because it's like you aren't like people can't train in Green Gollum, and so it's like if the only people who are like pretty much trained or like equipped to fight in Green Gollum well are on the verge of death. Like that's probably their last time before they're dying. So they're going all out anyways, which I just thought was interesting.
yeah. Yeah. I think he's smart enough though that he's gonna figure out other ways to use his Luxon. Because like even right there at the end, it was or not the end, but like in one of his fighting matches, it was talking about how he trained for one night in red and figured out like the sticky properties could be used to trap his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
which also you're not a drafter of a color unless you can draft stable Luxon, right? We
Mm-hmm.
found that out, right? Like any of the drafters can draft any color, they just can't make a stable version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Kip drafted a stable version of red, so now he is red, sub red, green, and blue. We've seen him
and
draft
didn't he
4.
do something with yellow?
If he did, I
Maybe
don't remember it.
maybe
Doesn't
not.
he
Um
do Super Violet too?
He can see it, but he hasn't
Okay.
drafted it yet.
yeah.
Okay.
Um Yeah, I mean, well, and that's something that no one's talking about either. Like, well, like his opponent said, "Oh, I didn't know you could draft red," but like no one's talking about the fact that that wasn't one of the colors that was in his threshing thing. He's not even
Yeah.
saying anything about it. So it's like, when are they gonna notice that? You know?
I think they
Yeah,
were
when's somebody
already
gonna
'Cause I
taking
take note
know.
of it?
notice.
Well, I was gonna say Andros for sure knows it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we see a lot more Andros, and we see how conniving he is, and like,
Well, he
uh,
also asked him, he's like, "Did you draft sub red? Did you draft
yeah,
fire?" And Kip tells him, "Yeah."
yeah,
Do we want to talk about Tia? I don't want to get off Kip without talking about Tia.
Yeah, we can.
The the color that she drafts, is it
yeah.
above? Is it above super violet on the spectrum,
The
No,
it's
or
the
below sub
Pyren?
red?
Is that what it was
it's
called?
below sub red. It's
Below
below sub
sub
red.
red. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so basically she's got like X-ray infrared vision type shit. Um,
Yeah.
Is it Pyren? Is
and
that
we
what it's
see that
called?
it can,
Pyron, I think.
yeah, and we see that it can be. We see the assassin use it like you can sharpen it and like use it to kill people.
Yeah,
And
he gave somebody a stroke with it.
yeah, he pierced their skin and like dropped a stone in it. Um, and I think it's really cool that it's introducing like these other colors because obviously there are other colors like
Right.
in the rainbow or whatever when you combine color, whatever.
They're just
Yeah.
Um,
forbidden or
They're
yeah,
heretical,
yeah.
right.
is what they were saying. That was their
Um,
justification for like not acknowledging them, is that they're
but
heretical colors.
that like completely opens up the world and the magic system because it's like I guarantee there's more than just this one other color that people are drafting.
Right.
And we see that it's really useful. Like the Blackguard wants her because she can see through clothes. She can see like hidden weapons.
Right.
And then she made a really good spy because they could mark like she can see stuff that nobody else can see.
Yeah, presumably the Blackguard doesn't even know about that, right? They could make markers on targets and track
Mhm.
people that way.
Yeah. And she sees it as useless color, but I mean to me it's really useful. And
Yeah.
I
I
feel
think she's
like
going to come in handy later in the
yeah,
story
and
for Kip.
I feel like her and Kip make a really good team too.
Oh, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, I like their pairing. I like that there's not any melodrama also.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing
it's
that Brent Weeks does really well, where it's like there's melodrama sometimes, but it feels justified, and like generally speaking, there's not that much melodrama. There's
yeah,
drama, not
Yeah.
melodrama.
yeah. Um, yeah, we
Uh,
see her. She goes from she gets her slave contract bought by Kip. Well, he
Yeah,
wins
he
it.
wins it.
So, but before that, she was kind of in a shitty spot with
mhm.
her owner. Um, and I'm wondering like how that's gonna resolve because I don't feel like it's just gonna be left as is.
No, I think there's going to be some revenge, some retaliation
I do
from
too.
her previous owner because
I
she
do too.
hates Andros Giles so much.
Right, and she was tortured to get the contract, so it's like it's not. I feel like something's got to be done. But
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about that too because who's this guy that Andros sent to torture? Because we kind of see some superhuman abilities in this. It's not just magic. Like we see the shimmer cloaks, which I mean that is magic. But did it say that he had one? The guy that tortured her owner? Because it
I don't
said
think
she like
so.
yeah, but he moved super fast. Like it said
Yeah,
like
he
fast
got
in
up
her
to the
mind.
second story and through a window with guards chasing him, and they didn't notice. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he has a shimmer cloak. I was just thinking that he was just that much better than her house guards.
Right, but I thought
Yeah.
it said he had superhuman speed, or it like hinted at it or something.
I mean,
Because it said
kind
like
of. She said
yeah,
that it should be impossible that he would be there.
yeah. Well, that and when he's in the room, like he shows it to her, he like moves faster than her eyes can keep up with or something. Um, when like
Hmm.
she first like walks in the room, like he threatens her and she tells him to leave or something. He just kind of like appears on the other side of the room or something.
Huh. I don't know. I didn't catch that if that's in there. I
I
remember
could
him
be
being
100%.
terrifying. The teeth thing made
Yeah,
me think of Glokta.
Mm.
yeah,
The
but
chapter, this just a road between two dentists.
yeah.
That's one of the best chapters ever.
But like it definitely makes sense that Andros has someone like that in his back pocket because like he's not gonna be uh uh vulnerable having to stay in his room without people that can handle stuff on the outside for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to maintain as much power as he has to have some agents on the outside. A lot of agents on the outside.
Yeah.
Because he has a terrifying amount of control.
Yeah. For someone
Especially
who
for a
can't
blind
leave
guy
his
that can't
room.
leave his room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And the fear that everyone fears him.
That's
Like
what I'm
it's not
saying.
like it's not few and far in between. Like everyone is scared of this guy.
Like
Yeah.
that's like I said it like the first time we met him, he gives off Tywin Lannister vibes. But like
Yeah.
even more so.
Is it weird that I've kind of started to like him a little bit though? You
No,
know,
I do too.
like he's been cruel to Kip a couple times, but
But
by
I
and
feel
large
like
he's been pretty fair to him.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like he's teaching Kip stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel
Yeah.
like I don't honestly don't feel like well he even says he likes Kip. But like
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's doing all that stuff to Kip to be cruel. Like I feel like he's
Right.
trying to teach.
Well,
Right.
and you also know
he's just more human than I thought he would be.
Yeah. Well, you
Right.
also know
Because,
he's
like,
a man of
even,
his
like-
word cuz like Kip beat him and instead of like screwing Kip over, he was like, "All right, here you go."
Yeah.
He obviously has anger issues, but I think that's part of his color because he's like
Right.
close to breaking his red halo.
Or
Like,
he's already
extremely
broken it.
close.
And
Yeah,
he's a
also.
white, and that's why he lives in the
Um,
darkness, is because he doesn't want anyone to know.
But yeah, I think like even disowning Kip, like I feel like that was like showing Kip that like trying to teach Kip to like he had to deal with shit on his own. Like he couldn't like fall back on his dad's name or the gal name.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
want Kip to turn into a spoiled. Well, my daddy's
Yeah.
the prism,
And-
so
And so we also see that as like everything he does has a purpose, and I think
Mhm.
Kip even says that like he doesn't do anything for no reason. So like I don't feel like he did that stuff just to be cruel. Like I feel like he had a purpose behind everything that he's done.
Yeah. I think even banning him from the practicum and making him learn drafting on his own.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the thing that makes Gavin, you know, beside the prism and being able to split light, yada yada yada, the thing that makes Gavin special is that he doesn't give a
He's
shit what
outside-
anybody else is doing.
Right.
Like
Right. He drafts outside the box, and I feel like
right.
they're gonna teach Kip what's inside the box and like limit his point of view. I
Right.
agree with that.
Yeah, I might be giving him too much credit on that, but I really think that's kind of the idea because
don't. I feel like
Gavin had to get it from somewhere, right?
Yeah. I feel like he's honestly just that intelligent, and I mean, there's a reason that he's so feared and like he's got so much power. Like, yeah, I agree, and I like you said, I feel like I like him too. But
Yeah.
where do we think
Oh.
that's gonna go? Because we see that he tells Kip that he didn't kill Janice, and that Janice was kind of a friend to him.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if Brent Weeks is trying to mislead us and like humanize Andros just to make the rug pull that much better. When Andros is, you know, evil
Turns
or some
and-
kind of
yeah.
big bad, or
is a white.
or if Andros is just legitimately more human than we were led to believe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, so we know Kip's got to play him 2 more times. Once for Kip's future, and then the other thing we don't know. But
do we think that he's going to play with this new deck that he got, the deck of originals that he got from Janice?
I think he might save it for the last one.
maybe. I don't think he wants Andros to know anything about it. So I don't know if he'll use it.
Yeah.
Because the Butler's not going to fall for that same water trick. So he's not going to be able to switch decks.
It's true. But do you think Andros is like Andros strikes me as a man of conviction, even if it's not always the most moral or ethical thing. Like he's not going to. I don't know. I don't think that he would just take the cards from Kip. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if Kip
I
beat him
think-
fair and square.
I think he would 100%. Because like I know for a fact if he found out Kip had the knife, he'd get the knife.
yeah.
I don't know what.
Sure,
I don't know
yeah.
Why.
Which
I don't know why.
I
And,
just
hey, so actually,
Mhm.
you go.
I was gonna say like because right before like Kip goes to Iron Fist's room, and then he's like I need to go talk to Andros. he just takes the dagger and throws it on the bed and then leaves to go talk to Andros. There's no mention of the dagger after that, which makes
there
me.
is.
There
He
is.
shows it. Yeah, he shows it to
Okay, I
Right.
must
The
have
Iron
That's
read
like
Fist.
over that.
the.
The
That's
second,
why.
the second he said that he tossed the dagger on the bed and left, I was like, someone's stealing it, and that's gonna be the plot of the rest of the book.
Well,
No, I'm pretty sure it's still there.
when it disappears from the chest, it's like, uh-oh,
Yeah,
uh-oh. But yeah, no, he shows it to Iron Fist, and it's like because he tells Iron Fist about all that, and then he's like, "Oh, I've got one more thing to tell you," and he shows him the dagger, and that's where it ends from what we've read so far.
gotcha.
Yep. So do we think Iron Fist is going to bring it to Gavin's attention? Like maybe Gavin's going to get his blue back after all? Or do we think Gavin's just on a downward spiral at this
Maybe
point?
that's like assuming Iron Fist knows what it is.
I think Gavin's just on
That's
a
true.
downward
So
spiral.
so like so what if Andros wants it because somehow it makes it to where you don't break your halo.
Oh, maybe he could give his red drafting to the dagger and not have to worry about breaking the halo. Wow. Yeah, I
Oh,
What if
hadn't
it
thought
like
about that.
yeah, what if it like what if it can be controlled and it drains it like it can drain the
The
like
halo.
yeah, it can drain the halo and make it to where he can use magic again.
Yeah. Well, I think it just steals the color entirely
yeah,
if you get
because
stabbed
Gavin's
with it.
unable to
Well,
do
I mean,
blue.
well that's what people are who don't know what the dagger is or know how to use it are doing. What if I mean we don't know like I don't know. What if you twist the one of the jewels 2 times and stab it in, and it gives them that color? I mean, we don't know. We don't know anything about it.
That's true. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't.
But Andros, I guarantee, does.
Well,
Yeah.
and so does Dazin.
Yeah. Prisoner.
Yeah, so does the prisoner.
So stubborn. It even reaffirmed in this book, no, this guy is Gavin. This guy is Dazin.
Yeah, but like, so like, I think differently than y'all because like in my head they're who they originally were, and like I just keep up with who they're pretending to be.
Yeah.
Because what are y'all gonna do when they switch back? Because I know they're going to at some point.
I genuinely think, like, let's say Dazin escapes. I think by the time he escapes, Gavin's dead.
You think so?
But I could see
I
a
don't know.
scenario where, because he's dead, Dazin slips in and pretends to be. I don't know. It'd be weird. He's definitely got a prisoner's body right now, so.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Gavin, what do we think about what's going on with Gavin? We start with Karis, I guess.
So
Do we think he's going to tell her the truth?
well, she knows the truth. Granted,
Well, right, but she's waiting
he
for him
doesn't-
to admit it.
right,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know for sure what she knows.
Yeah.
I'll.
So like, he's building this place for these refugees. He's running into the seer, but like, I feel like there's a lot more important stuff to be doing right now.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna be honest. I really just, like, I got to a Gavin chapter and I just kind of zoned out while I read it just because I wanted to get back to the Kips storyline. I think it got better towards, like, the end of this section when, like, he started going on the hunt for the white and stuff, and, like, the fight was pretty dope. But
I was enthralled with the Gavin chapters.
So, I feel like a bunch of them were,
Exposition.
yeah,
Yeah.
like dialogue between him and Karis and like seeing where they're at and I think like those chapters were kind of there to like show that they're working through some stuff. And then we see the seer come up and she calls Karis the wife, which is interesting. So I'm thinking, and she talks about how like they need to make up basically. And so I'm wondering where that's gonna go because the seer's obviously seen a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the seer's a really cool character.
yeah, and I feel like she's gonna be really important before it's all said and done. I want to talk about how he kills a god with just like a quick little sword slash. Like,
Yeah, the Bane was the big part I wanted to touch on. It
I
seemed
feel
like
like
he
it should have been a
handled
little
that
harder.
pretty
I feel
well.
like
I
it
mean,
should have been
he
a little
did
harder.
catch it. He caught it right before it hatched, right?
Yeah.
That's why the seer told him get there before noon. And that realization that Gavin had of like, oh, I can just go in a straight line. I don't have to go 2 hours north and 3 hours, or whatever it was, three
Yeah.
hours north, 2 hours. He's like, I can just cut in a straight line and get there quick enough.
As the
Um,
crow flies.
yeah, and he gets there right as the Bane is about to hatch, and it seems like these blue whites are like feeding the Bane in some
Mm-hmm.
way, or like it
They're
needs
absorbing the
their.
blue. They're and they could just be like redirecting the blue, but
Yeah, it
like
seems like they're
basically
almost
like
photosynthesizing for the Bane, if
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. Um, I also didn't think like we were gonna run into like an actual like god and like that quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
didn't see that one coming. Like I thought like we were gonna show up and they're gonna be a bunch of whites or some other problem, but no, there's just a god chilling in some blue when we cut his head off.
Well, I think this was set up, right? I think this was Brent Week saying this is the threat that's on the horizon. I think the next one's gonna hatch. I think the
Yeah.
next one is gonna go free and fuck some shit up. Whatever color
Well,
Gavin loses next, I think is gonna go
so
wild.
so what if that's what happens with the prisoner is like these gods start popping up and uh the prism needs help and so he's just like, hey, I've got to let you go because I can't do this by myself and hopefully like you can brush some of this shit on the rug for a second and we can handle it out later.
Yeah, maybe. I could see that. Also, I mean, after 16 years in prison, do we think Dazen has learned anything? I mean, surely he's been introspective at some point in this time, right?
He seems pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
He's like,
I mean, he's
like
just a
substantially
horrible person.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I really don't want anything
uh,
good to ever happen to him.
I mean, I don't know if he's a horrible person.
He raped 2 women. What do you mean?
Okay. It hasn't
He's
been
fucking
proven that he did
horrible.
that. It hasn't been proven that he did that to Kip's mom. We don't know
Well,
that
that's
story.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I mean,
And she
it's
was also
it's
writing
pretty
him like,
in
hey,
line with
With his
everything else we
character.
know about him.
yeah. And she was also like writing to him saying like, hey, you need to come meet your son. And like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more to that one.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
also know that he was just prone to violence and an arrogant prick in the first
right,
place.
right. Well, and
You know.
so I agree like that. Those aren't good qualities, but I feel like that was mainly part of the way he was raised. Like he was raised to be the prism, and it's like how people in power when they've had
Sh-
power like that,
Sure.
they're raised like that.
He's just the
We
only
don't know.
person in the whole cast that has no humanity to
Yeah.
me. Like
Well,
even
I
Andros
was
Kyle
Well,
has
we
been
just
humanized at
well,
this
well
point.
I was
right,
thinking
we
like
don't know his true character out of like I don't feel like we know his true character
because he's
I don't
mad.
well that he's mad and he's been in prison for so long he's half crazy but also like before that like he was
Have?
like he well he was a god and
Yeah.
That kind of fall from grace
right
could have.
when he comes back into reality he's got this son all this bad stuff's going on he's spent time like he's lived in his own piss like I feel
Well,
like
that's what I'm saying. I hope that if
maybe
he
it'll
does
humble
get
him.
out, that he has been humbled and he's been introspective and
Yeah.
realized,
I was
this happened because I was a violent, arrogant asshole, and I was jealous of my brother, so here we are,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
basically.
I was gonna say we also learned that he's the one that set up Karis's brother's thing. They were gonna kill him.
Yeah.
They were gonna
Yeah.
kill the Prism, and he set it up because he found out they were running away together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking like is like he's basically mad, and that's also what whites are. Is like once their halos break they go mad. And so he's just a white whose halo hasn't broken.
Well, and so the whites go mad because they lean into their color and so like they think with the way that color thinks. And I think that's one reason the color prince is a lot more normal is because he's got a lot more colors, so he
Mm-hmm.
thinks a lot of different ways. Whereas you have like a mono blue color white, all they think is like super rational.
Reason, reason,
Right.
reason.
And you
Right.
have a mono green, all they're doing is wild shit. So I
Mono
think the
red, and let's
polychrome,
just burn everything down. Or sub red.
they're angry. So like I think the polychromes have it a lot easier when they turn to whites because they got like they still lean into their colors, but like they've got the rationality, they've got the wild, like it's all kind of blending together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Besides the color prints, we really haven't seen a bichrome or polychrome white,
yeah,
right?
that we
Am I
know of.
crazy?
No, like the ones that we've seen, they've all leaned to one color
Yeah.
that I can think of. That I believe. I mean, I can't think of one other than the color prints.
I'm
And we see
curious to
him
see
have.
if Karis breaks the halo, if
Yeah,
she's like green red or just red.
I think she's gonna be just red because it feels that's what it feels like she's leaning towards now.
Yeah, she doesn't really
But we
use
do
green
see
as much.
right, right, but the green's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think we've got a lot more to learn. I'm wondering if we're gonna get to learn it in this book because you gotta think there's still 3 more books after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the next book is called The Burning White, also.
No, that's the last book. The next book is called The
The last book.
Broken Eye.
The Broken
Well,
Eye.
so
Okay.
we know the white's dying now too. So like this whole world's about to get shifted from that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're in the lead up to something big, and the Gavin story and the Kip story is kind of peaking.
Yeah.
Right. Do we
Like
think
maybe
he's
the
gonna
Gavin
kill the
story is the overarching story of
Yeah.
the whole series that Kip will become involved in, and then
yeah,
Kip's personal journey is kind of going up
right.
right
We
now.
got Kip's
Yeah.
like coming of age story. Do we think he's gonna kill the blue?
I don't know. I think he's going to outsmart the whole situation and just get him like denounced, discredit him in some way.
So and I don't remember the meeting, the Spectrum meeting, because so
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who the blue was, so I could be completely wrong with this. But what if Gavin is actually really good friends with the blue and like told him like, hey, I told him to either blackmail you or kill you. I want you to test him and see how he does.
Could be the case.
Yeah.
I don't really understand Gavin's motivation when it comes to the guy. Well,
Yeah,
he said that he needed a stronger leader in blue or something.
right.
Um,
But like, why just blue?
yeah, why just blue? Well, I
And
mean,
either way
his
you look
father is
at
the
it, they're
leader of
all
red.
right. Well, I was gonna say either way you look at it, and blue's the opposite of red though. So
Yeah,
you would think that the blue and the red would have different viewpoints, so he would want the blue on his team. So like I feel like uh, we got to learn a lot more about the political dynamics and who's with who. But Andros controls most of it, so you would think he would pick one of Andros's people, and the blue might be one of Andros's people. I don't know, but I can't remember how the Spectrum meeting went in the first book. I can't remember who was who and who was voting for what.
Mm-hmm. I remember that
yeah.
it had to do too with like what houses they came from and like what lands they came from, but I
Yeah.
don't remember like anything else.
Well, I was gonna say either way you look at it, I feel like the Spectrum should almost not even like. I feel like if Gavin was really doing something, he'd just get rid of the whole Spectrum,
Yeah.
and he'd use his power as the
The
Emperor,
Primarchos.
the Primarchos, and just take
Yeah.
control.
Well, he has to be Primarchos to have that level of power, and I don't think he can just declare himself
Right. I
Primarchos.
think the Spectrum and the White both have to give it to him.
Right. Um, what else is going on with Gavin? Is there anything else? Talked about the Bane, Garrus, and the Seer. That's pretty much it, right?
Not yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Uh,
Um, oh, he's making a lot more stuff out of yellow now, which is interesting because yellow is kind
yeah.
of permanent.
Yeah.
But since
Well,
he
he
can't
said
use
it's
blue,
right. He's using yellow and green more. Um, I think he
which I just
really
think is
misses blue
interesting.
though, which
Yeah, he really misses his blue, I'm sure.
it shows you how much he used to use blue because every time goes to do something, he's like, "Oh man, I wish I could use blue because I used to do this with blue." And
Yeah.
Hmm. It seems like it's the most all-purpose Luxon. Um,
yeah,
All right, let's move on to Liv.
Man,
Yeah.
she's just kind of like buying into the Color Prince's bullshit. Which
Yeah.
Is
honestly,
it
he's got
though?
some good points.
I was about
He's
to
got
say.
some
I was about
good
to say. Is it?
points. But
Yeah.
I feel like both. So I feel like that we're in a weird spot because I feel like both sides have good points and bad points, and I feel like
Hmm. I like that
Almost
about
like
this
the real
book.
world. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah,
Cause,
yeah.
cause it's like we
Still
can
don't know
take.
who the good guy is.
Yeah. Well, like we can take a podcast like this where we all just are siding differently and like have different opinions and be based in like the actual like. No, I'm kind of with Liv on this one. No, I'm kind of with
Yeah.
Gavin on this one. And
So I almost feel like there's gonna be like a third faction that pops up where it's like Gavin and the people who don't necessarily agree with the
The Chromaria or the
the
Color Prince.
Chromaria or the Color Prince, and then people from both sides are gonna join that faction, and then we got a three-way war. But
Yeah.
because I think Liv kind of falls into that because she's agreeing with a lot of the Color Prince's like good ideas where it's like, hey, we don't need slaves and we don't need to kill our family members and all that. But then she's also disagreeing with like all the violence and all the
yeah.
conniving shit that she sees him doing because like even at one point when she starts like using ultraviolet to think, she's like, hey, you lie a lot, don't you? I thought that was
Yeah.
really funny.
Well, when those the the criers that he sent ahead of them were martyred, they were hung.
Yeah,
He uses that as his justification to invade, and she's like, "Well, you're going to do this anyways.
yeah.
Like, you're gonna do it regardless. What does it matter? Like, why are you making a dramatic scene out of it? You were just gonna
Yeah.
do it regardless."
Yeah.
But then, I don't think that he's being unreasonable in saying like, "Oh, well, it's a morale booster for the men, right?" To say like, "We're going to get revenge." It's like they
He's a
see these
he,
people.
yeah. I mean, he's a general. Like he's thinking he's not thinking of moral ways to win a war. He's just thinking like, hey, I want to win a war. So
Yeah,
like,
Hashtag
for a
Dalinar.
moral purpose. I mean, he. I don't think he's too off base with the color whites, right? Because we've seen some color
Yeah.
whites who are still perfectly sentient.
Yeah.
Uh,
well, even
there's no
when
telling
we
if
were
they
just
stay
talking about,
that way, but
well, I was gonna say we were talking about how the Purple Bear's sister, I forgot her name, she's still alive. She broke her halo, but she's still alive, and she's sitting here thinking like very clearly and like, hey, I'm gonna try to stay alive so I can kill the Color Prince.
hmm
So like I don't know. I feel like I agree. I feel like there's more to it, and I feel like the Chromaria is like definitely like not in the right in a lot of things.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
we
mean, it's
also
just
the end
various
of the
levels of
chapter,
corruption.
the end of the chapter with the sister, um, you can see the slippery slope though, right?
Right.
She's talking
Well,
about making the lenses for her eyes, and
yeah.
then she's thinking about Luxon versus Flesh, and you can see how it could very easily spiral out
Yeah.
of control.
Well, and that's what too. She's like she was gonna kill herself, and then she's like, but I could stay alive just a little longer and maybe accomplish this, and it's like
Hmm.
that could definitely turn into like, well, now there's no reason for me to
Yeah.
yeah. I agree.
Also,
Um,
she knows that Dazen became Gavin.
right. She's the one that had the affair with Gavin, right, or the prisoner.
Yeah, she had the affair with Gavin.
Yeah. Um.
How many
Yeah.
how many bastards does Gavin have floating around? Also,
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't
I'm just
know. We
wondering.
don't know.
I mean,
We
if
don't know
they're
anything
all
really.
if all of them are full spectrum polychromes, they could have an army of little guiles running around.
Maybe Giles.
Yeah. Andros definitely was up to something.
Yeah, he had to have done something magical or
Got
otherwise.
some Formula X or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the biggest reason I think Zyman is a guile. The fact that he's
Yeah.
also a full spectrum polychrome.
Well, I think Zyman. I don't know if he's a guile. I think he's Karis's.
Which would make him a guile.
I just don't know how he's
Well, no,
carries.
because
He would be Gavin's son, Kip's half
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. He'd be
I
Kip's half.
thought
I mean, it makes
Karis
sense.
said
It
that
would
she
make
got rid of it
sense.
because it wasn't Giles. It was
No,
someone
she got
else's.
rid of it because Gavin raped her.
Oh.
Yeah. She
Well
was like, I
then,
never want to see him again. I never want to have any reminder of this shit. Like, get it gone.
gotcha.
Um,
I don't remember saying that.
That's exactly. Go back. I'm telling you. That's why I think Gavin is a or OG Gavin Dazen now, the prisoner, is a deplorable piece of shit, and I hope he just gets tortured for the rest of the series. Because it explicitly says 2 different times that he has raped 2 different women. That we know of. He is a deplorable piece of shit. Maybe 16 years in the can has given him some perspective, but I still hope he just eats shit for 4 more or 3 more books. Um, yeah, she's kind of drinking the Kool-Aid though. Liv, she's eating it up for the most part. She's questioned him a little bit, but
I'm okay with it.
yeah, he's got some solid points, and I can appreciate that that she is questioning him on some of those points where he's like being melodramatic and lying about things or
Yeah.
Here's my deal with Liv though. Um, her reasoning for being there makes zero fucking sense because she left because she thinks that the Prism is using her to make her dad work for him. But then she leaves and her dad doesn't immediately come find her and be like, "Oh, we got away." Like he's still helping the Prism. So it's like her whole reasoning just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's a little. I think she almost doesn't buy that reason herself at this point. I think she's just kind of wishy-washy or like on the fence about the whole thing. Like I think she's buying more into the Color Prince's ideals than like the necessity of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of the necessity of getting away from Gavin so her father can escape, it's more that she like just agrees with the Color Prince and hates the Chromaria at this point.
Yeah.
Well, what other
Uh,
story beats we got? Did we
Janice's
miss
death
anything?
is the only Janice's death is the only thing I can think of. Like who
Yeah.
killed her, why?
Yeah, I really have no idea. If it's not Andros Guile,
Could it be what's her name?
The white?
Aglaya?
Oh, I was thinking maybe it could be
hmm,
the white for some reason. Where
I can see the white.
where these shimmer cloaks come from?
I don't know. I also don't understand how they work. Like, are they
Also,
like a cloak of invisibility from like Harry Potter? Like you throw them
yeah.
on and they conceal you, or
I think they just bend the
Also,
light
we see
around
that
you or
yeah,
something.
the dagger is almost corporeal because like it doesn't do bodily harm, it just takes drafting. Like he stabs dude in chest and like there's no blood or anything, and dude gets up and is still alive, but he lost his powers.
Yeah.
And we see the same
no,
thing with Gavin. Gavin didn't have any like mark on him from where he was stabbed.
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it seems solid enough when Kip's describing it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not made of Hellstone, is it?
I don't think
It's
so.
It's a pure white stone,
Yeah.
whatever that
It's like a
is.
glass or something.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll learn more about the dagger this book, considering it's called the Blinding Knife.
Surely not.
I
Yeah.
just hope that the point of contention or like the driving force of the plot being that Kip hasn't talked to Gavin doesn't continue for a long time.
Yeah. I think once Gavin comes back, but I think it's definitely needed because like Kip's growing on his own, so like it makes
Right. Yeah.
sense right now.
He needs this time to grow.
Yeah, and so I can see like that being like this is like Kip's story of like him figuring everything out without Gavin, and so like I could see it being a part of the plot, but I agree if it's just like the main reason everything's going to crap, then
It's a little tropey, a
yeah,
little like, oh, these characters haven't communicated, so all of this other shit happens.
yeah,
I don't love that as a plot point. Right now, I'm not like tired of it or like
yeah,
rolling my eyes at it because there's so much stuff going on in the world. It's like easy to believe that all of it's
yeah,
getting kind of lost in the sauce.
yeah.
I just hope
Oh,
it doesn't continue for like several books or something, you
Yeah.
know. What do we want from the next half? What are you guys looking for in the next half?
Dude, um I want so like now that like that scene with Gavin like in the whites or whatever was dope. I want more of that. More I guess more action. I feel like we've had a lot of like intrigue going on. I want some more action. Um I kind of want Days into Escape. I'd like to see that by the end of the book.
Throw a spanner in the works,
Yeah.
complicate some stuff. What about you, Dylan?
Um, Honestly, like nothing specific. Like I feel like the book's going in a good direction. The
Mhm.
plot's moving along like it should be. As long as it keeps going like it is, I think we'll find out more about what we want to know. I think that's the only thing. Like I'm ready for to learn some more stuff about this, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about like the knife and what's going on in the world because I think Kip's gonna dive into those cards more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so
The
I'm
only
pretty
thing I
happy
want
where
from
things are at.
oh god.
No, I was just saying I'm pretty happy where things are at. Like
Yeah.
as long as we keep moving forward the same with like the same uh pace, the plot's moving forward just like I like it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same spot. I really like it. I still really like it. I think these books are so much fun.
They are.
Uh, they're so fast, so fast. I
Yeah.
listened to the first half in like one shift at work on Sunday, and it literally just made my day pass like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I really, I really appreciate that Gavin is struggling right now and like kind of confused about everything, because he was kind of on a like a godlike level in the first book.
Yeah.
And I like that Kip is slowly figuring out that he, has what it takes and is gaining some confidence,
Mhm.
and is like he. It's not that he is like automatically amazing at
yeah,
anything, but like he's smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
he's finally being accepted too, which I
Right.
think's
He's
gonna
found
be
he's
really
found a
good.
group.
Yeah, which is really gonna be really good for his confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. I like where the book's headed.
Cool. Well, we can go ahead and wrap up here. I guess. Next episode, we'll be finishing out the book and giving our final thoughts on it. So, if you want to read along with us, um, as always, make sure. Oh, we do TBRs. Duh,
Yep,
TBRs.
TBRs.
Yeah.
TBRs.
I'll go first. I am about 100 pages out from finishing the Midnight Library with my book club at my school that I work at, and then I'm about 200 pages into Mistborn. I still haven't picked up much of it, but my goal is to finish this out early this week and then pick up Mistborn and maybe get another 200 pages in. So
Nope.
that's where I'm at.
I'm 300 pages into Academ's Fury. I'm about halfway through. I haven't made too much progress in it. Elric of Melnibone. I think I've read the first two novellas in the volume. Uh, Really strange to be in present tense and first person perspective all the time, but it's pretty cool. And then The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I'm a little over halfway through. Dragon
Cool.
Reborn. I'm a little over halfway through.
Yeah.
Thought you were gonna start the Pariah.
I plan on it. I'm going to buy the paperbacks instead of getting the audiobooks.
Nice.
Uh, let's see.
I just haven't come in
Tactile
yet.
readers.
I finished the Farseer trilogy. Um, the first three books. Absolutely fantastic. I picked the first one for I think January because I think it's gonna be a really good one to talk about in the podcast. And I hope we do the other two books for the Patreon because I think it's really good. And it'll be really good discussions. And then I kind of wanted, so I was gonna immediately jump into the fourth book of that same series, but I found out it's about different people, even though it's in the same world. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little break then. And so I was like looking through Audible, and I found like this like genre called lit RPG. Have y'all seen anything about those?
Lit RPG. That actually sounds familiar.
Is it like a choose your own adventure?
No, it's a genre, but it's like a um, so it's like a almost like like a light novel or like a uh, Sword Art Online type
Okay.
genre. So like a lot of it's like either like VR games or something like that. But it's like RP, like it's role playing game, fiction or science or fantasy basically. So basically like in this one I'm reading, it's a series. It's called the Ripple System. I read books 1 and 2. That's the first book. It's called Shade Slinger. Um, but so basically like this rich dude, this new game's coming out in like a fully immersive VR, and he like buys all the copies because like 50 copies get pre-released 3 days ahead, and he gets a 3 day head start. But he like buys all the copies, and like the developer hates that, and so he sticks him with this axe, which is like a world item that it's an AI, so it's but like he programmed it to hate everything that the guy's doing, and so like they're constantly bickering back and forth, and then like when the full game fully comes out, he releases like a worldwide message for everybody that's like, hey, this guy has this axe of unbridled knowledge. If you get it, it's gonna really help your game. So like everybody hunt him down. It basically makes like a manhunt, but like basically it's just like about him playing the game, and like when he gets like items and stuff, it'll tell you all their stats, and like it's like you're playing, it's like you're listening to someone playing a video game kind of.
That's
It's pretty
cool.
cool. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's something different, and I wanted like a palate cleanser, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's it. I'm probably gonna honestly uh listen to the last 2 books. I think there's four
That sounds
books.
like you're reading a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is.
How
Uh,
long are they? Like 5, 6 hours or less
20.
than 20
Oh, they're
20.
hours?
like full on novels. All
Oh
right.
wow.
They're full
Okay.
on books, yeah. And I mean, um, don't get me wrong, some of it's cheesy.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I was wanting, and I
I
feel,
mean,
but
but
I think
that's
that's
that can
okay.
be the
I mean,
appeal too. Yeah.
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 There's a lot of like really good dialogue. There's character growth. So like uh, it's funny because it's like him who's like this really like rational, like wants to be a mage, and then his axe is like this like narcissistic, like hates mages and just wants to like brutally murder things. And then he's also got another person in there with him, which is it's his AI that is like the best AI in the world. And it's he calls it House because it basically all it's done so far for him, because he got it like gifted to him, is run his house. Even though it can do so much more, well, it gets integrated into the system, and so like it's like a robot, like it doesn't know how to be a human, and so like they're all arguing, and like so like it takes everything really literally. So like at one point he's like, hey, run outside, make sure the coast is clear so I don't get jumped, and like she like jumps outside and runs all the way to the coast. And he like checks her position on a mini map, and she's at the coast like checking to make sure the actual coast is clear. So it's funny, it's got a lot of like humorous moments, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's interesting.
That's dope.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
let us know what your guys' TBR are down in the comments. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. So make sure you share, like, subscribe, or follow the podcast on your preferred platform. As always, we are on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, so you can share, listen, watch as you wish. Discord is in the description, and you can follow our TikTok, which is at Tome Travelers Pod. And yeah, got the YouTube comments. Let us know what you guys have thought so far up to this book. And yeah, with that, we will, I guess, see you all in the next one.
Peace. Adios.